Right, now I'm pretty sure we need the bombs for that one. Because it's the same thing. I think the timer on this one's a little more generous, though. Yeah, it seems to be. Alright. And is this the room where we get the treasure? Yes, it is. I think there's gold sculpture in here, isn't there? I might be thinking of somewhere else. The trick here is we press a switch, we end up having to get to the chest up there. We'll see it when we stand on the switch. Go up there, turns it off. We have to get up there before the fire reignites. It's not as difficult as it really seems. It seems kind of worrying because of the thin platform. It's not as worrying. It's not as difficult as it seems. The Megaton Hammer, yay! So the Megaton Hammer is, if you've not gotten the Gorons sword by this point, which you can do, this will be the first item you get that requires two hands. You can't use your shield while you're holding it. But generally, you're probably not going to use it for attacking anyway. And now that we've gotten the Megaton Hammer, we've finished the dungeon off. Yeah, that's pretty cool. One of the biggest complaints that came out in recent years, or certainly became very popular in recent years against Ocarina, is that it's Link to the Past in 3D. And structurally, sure. The adult and child variations of the world can essentially be equated to the light and dark world in Link to the Past. There's the getting the 3 spiritual stones as the child, and then the next set of dungeons are as an adult, same as the three pendants in Link to the Past, and then the next set of dungeons in the dark world. But I think the actual game design of Ocarina is different enough, thanks to it being 3D, that it really doesn't matter that much. And I think Ocarina of Time certainly does really well with its 3D design by making use of the third dimension over Link to the Past's 2D design. The 2D design, essentially your X and Y, your up and down, is really it's done really well in A Link to the Past. And then Ocarina of Time adding the Z, the depth. So you've got your up and down and your left and right is really neat, but then you've got your forward and backwards to create your 3D design. And I think it's handled really well in this game. And like I say, the dungeon design uses it well enough. The dungeon and the world design uses it well enough. How many floors was that? Two floors? Yeah, it's got open 2 floors. Well, this is the room where we saw the Runia. Yeah, I think Ocarina of Time's dungeon and world design uses the 3D aspect well enough. The complaints of the story structure being similar to Link to the Past becomes kind of moot. No. And I think the Fire Temple is definitely a good place to get to really describe that as a point. There we go. And take out that last keys. And let's just get out of here, because this room is embarrassing. You know, I wonder how the game designers decided between the doors that slide up and the doors that you just open. Okay, I don't want to have to deal with the light bike. Grab that. Yeah, the doors that slide up and the doors that you just open, because this dungeon's had both of them. Did the Forest Temple have both of them? It might have done. So fan theory isn't something I really go with a lot. Though I'll have... Wow, I got it 3 times that didn't jump up. What's that about? Fan theory isn't something I generally go with that often. Or something I really pay much attention to. Yeah, 3 times again. And then I didn't jump up. Is this one actually tougher than the first one? Let's see. If this hit kills it, then the answer's no. How did I keep missing that? Oh, it seems like it is tougher. That's 12 hits rather than the 9 that the previous one took. $13. It might heal itself when it goes back in the fire. Yeah, so we assume it heals itself when it goes back in the fire. That's 12 hits. Did I get the compass at any point? No, I didn't. Where was the compass? Yeah, fan theory isn't something I paid that much attention to. Some of them can be interesting, some of them can be really stretching. Like the Link is dead theory for Majora's Mask. Not overly interested in that. Regardless of how much basis it can have, I don't like the way that sounds. Not so much that Link is dead. I don't like the ideas that it brings up with the suggestion. But some of the interesting fan theories about this game are exactly what the temples are. Because the Fire Temple is obviously a temple. The Forest Temple is a little different. The suggestion with that is that it's an old mansion. And then there's a different idea with the Water Temple and the Shadow Temple. And I think the Spirit Temple is also the only other temple that is considered to actually be a temple for worship. Oh, here's the boss room. Can I actually leave? No, I can't. It was weird that the camera cut through and showed this boss room before it actually loaded up properly. Well, looks like we're stuck here. Volvagia. Volvagia, cool boss. If you hack the game files with a Game Shark, there's actually an R-Wing in the game files. So I think Star Fox 64 came out before this. Star Fox 64 3D was the 3DS remake. But there's an R-Wing in the game files, and the reason it exists in the game files is because they use the R-Wing to test out the movement patterns for Volvagia. It's really cool, and you can hack it in back into the game. It has the same movement, really. So that's pretty interesting. We get it looking like an Ouroboros there, and that was kind of neat. If you get close enough when it goes in, you can actually hit it with the hammer. There we go. Yeah, it's kind of neat that it exists like that. And just that the R-Wing was used as a test model for Volvagia's movements. Okay, when Volvagia goes up like that, it's going to start dropping boulders. The best idea I have is to climb down here. Any of the sides of the platform will work, but climb down here and the boulders will never hit you. And the boulders will also sensor on whichever hole Volvagia is going down. Here we go. So I think it should be one more cycle. Don't know its weak point. I think Volvagia, Ganon. Can I get it like that? Volvagia, Ganondorf, and the final boss are the only enemies Navi will tell you that she doesn't know the weak point for. Right, where you going? You're going over here. There. There we go, got it. And as it gets later in the battle, it happened a minute ago, but we didn't see it. Volvagia will change which hole it's looking like it will come out of. Oh, we've got another cycle. I was really hoping that'd be it. Okay, so if the Z target disappears here, yeah, that means the boulders are going to fall. Not really much to do now, but wait. There it goes. With the boulders focusing on the hole Volvagia goes into, it makes me think that the developers were aware that you can hit Volvagia on its way down. There we go. I love this death animation as well. This one's really cool. As the flesh burns off and then it falls to the ground and the skull lands. I think that's really cool. You can actually still target the skull and get the information on it until the skull disappears, which I think is pretty neat. That's another temple down though. That's another sage rescued. 3 more to go. Water, Shadow, Spirit. Oh, what's going on with Death Mountain? And it's all clear again, and the sky is back to normal. Meanwhile, in the Chamber of Sages... Take a guess who the Fire Sage is. That's right, it's the only unique character model the Gorons have. The different Gorons have different sizes, but they are all basically the same model. The same's true of the Medigoron and the Bigoron. They are much bigger than normal Gorons, but they're the same character model. Just thinking about the specific sages. Like, Sage of Water, Fire, Light, Shadow, and Spirit kind of makes sense. Sage of the Forest feels a little out of place. Although that's possibly because the Forest Temple was originally intended to be like a wind temple, a wind-themed dungeon. So it could have originally been Wind Sage, which might have fit more. Huh. But then, when you see the sages again, Wind Waker brings back the sages, though you only see 2 of them. Those sages are the Earth and the Wind sages. I think Twilight Princess references that there are 7 sages again. No, I don't need anything here. Why is there grass in the volcano? I think Twilight Princess references the 7 sages again. Yeah, there's 7. Guess who the last one is? We'll find that out later. You can't break these boulders with the bombs, you have to use the hammer. Yeah, references the 7 sages, but I think this is the only game you actually see the 7 sages properly. Link to the Past makes reference to 7 wise men, and the big thing in that is the descendants of the 7 wise men. Although the Game Boy Advance version of that retcons that to 7 sages and descendants of the 7 sages. Great Fairy of Wisdom. I'm going to use my wisdom to enhance your magic power. Wait, what? So now there's only 2 more Great Fairies left. We have double magic, yay! That noise they make when they disappear is actually really hard on the ears. Really hard on the ears. Alright, let's get out of here. And so, when Navi suggests... because it's going to be a little thing now... every now and then Navi will point you in the direction of your next objective. She'll suggest Zora's River. We need the bean, the magic bean, to get that one. We can get this one when we're a kid. That door leads outside to the top of the Death Mountain. We can get this when we're a kid. Because we will have enough time to grab it before we burst into flames. 2. Okay, 2 more before the next heart container. But yeah, Navi will give you the hint to check out Zora's River. So that's where we're heading next. And the quickest way there is actually gonna be... go into Goron City. The quickest way there is going to be to go into Goron City, go through the Lost Woods, and then head through the shortcut from the Lost Woods to Zora River. But what I want to do is actually head back to Hyrule Castle at the minute, and get the Prelude of Light, which will make getting around a lot easier. Do I want to do that now? There is a point later where we'll have to do it. I could leave it till then. Is there anything else I'm missing? You know, I'm not entirely sure. So after we do the ice cavern, before I go for the water temple, I do want to get the bigger on the sword. And while that could be made easier by going to Hyrule Castle, you know what, let's do it now. And then we'll have the song to get back to the Temple of Time, which will make things a lot simpler later.